Yeah? Whatever.
Yeah.
You ready?
I'm ready. Okay. Hi, welcome to the low ceiling.
Come on. That's not a fun way to start the pod.
I got something fun for you.
I have some business before we get to our film today.
Oh, what are you thinking?
Well, it'll take a little while, so what do you want to say?
I want to talk about something equally Shakespearean that I watched this week with you. True.
Was it a film that we considered doing on the podcast?
Yep, and then immediately decided not to.
Do you want to know why I was like, I don't know if we should do this?
Because it's bad to punch down.
It's bad. I started to, the more I thought about it, the more I thought about that movie, I was like, I felt guilty.
Reasonable, right?
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good feeling because you're a good person. You're like, I don't want to, bash something that's already been bashed.
Maybe I'm humble bragging, but I felt bad for Jamie Dornan being like, I'm a bee.
Spoiler!
Sorry.
We're talking about Wild Mountain Thyme.
We were going to do the film Wild Mountain Thyme, but it's just so, it's so bad. And I was like, we would stray into an already incredibly popular podcast territory. We did an episode on it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, we should do something.
We
I was
let
like,
it go.
to rebound from feeling guilty about it, let's do something good. And that's why we're doing the film we're doing today.
Only notes I had when we were watching this movie's a Wild Mountain Crime.
Wild Mountain Crime, yeah.
When he says those things to me. Come on.
I think Wild Mountain Thyme was a film dedicated to the sole purpose of uniting the opinions of Northern and Republic of Ireland. I think it's the only thing that can truly everyone in Ireland on the Isles, the Emerald Isles, can agree on. And I can say that because I play soccer with like 3 or 4 Irish guys, so I can definitely speak for them. Yeah.
All you need is just Brendan Gleeson cloned 7 times in this film in every role, and that would make it a hit.
Brendan and Domhnall Gleeson probably would have improved this film.
Yeah. We already got that Wild Mountain Thyme, though.
Can I just say, though, like, I am quite honestly a little shocked. Why is Jamie Dornan not way more famous than he is? Because he's not a bad actor. And this Wild Mountain Thyme sucks. I'm not denying that. Emily Blunt has made some strange choices in her career. Yeah. And it's weird that she's in that movie. But Jamie Dornan's really not a bad actor. Neither is Emily Blunt.
No. I think it's the same level of selective movies that you do, which he reminds me of Robert Pattinson, who for the longest time was in like 3 films, right? And then
we're part of a big series based on trash novels. Right. Well, he was 50 Shades of Grey, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
So his career is very similarly paralleled with Pattinson's.
And so maybe it's just a choice where they're like, yeah, we don't have to get sucked into the Hollywood of it all and just choose the somewhat terrible films that we do from time to time.
Yeah, but then like was it the year after, like, or around the same time he did Belfast?
Yeah.
And was like, he didn't get nominated for an Academy Award, but he was like critically acclaimed in that film. Like people were like, oh shit, he's really good in this. I never saw Belfast. But
yeah, me neither. I might just be like a director hasn't found him who would find Jamie Dornan's voice.
Maybe.
So far, he's just doing I'm a pretty boy and I do my acting.
He's a very pretty boy, though. Give him that.
But like, there's no kind of depth to his character in anything that he does. But that's not his fault because he's told to do it that way. And he's a good actor. But we'll just never get to see the side of him like Barry Keoghan.
Yeah.
He could do a crazy guy. He could be in a show like You. Where he plays, a crazy stalker.
He does look like the Irish Penn Badgley.
He is an Irish Penn Badgley.
Yeah, like he kind of reminds me of like one of the other Hemsworths.
Yeah.
Like you're kind of
exactly.
like none of them are like, I don't think Liam is kind of like the second most famous, right? He's the Witcher, right?
Now he will be.
Liam is going to be the Witcher. And I kind of think of like none of them are like bad actors or anything.
No,
it's just Chris is so absurdly more famous and is a good actor too. And I kind of think of Jamie Dornan like that. I'm just kind of like, why? Who who is Jamie Dornan coming in second to in all of the parts that he goes out for, because I'm sure it's a sexy guy who's also just as good of an actor, kind of.
Totally.
Like, it's not like he's put up for Daniel Day-Lewis's parts.
No, like I feel like it's the same vein as like the Paul Mescals of the world, that him.
Maybe, yeah, because that's actually a really good comparison. Paul Mescal's a little younger, but like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. So
Jamie, I am kind of rooting for you. And
Jamie, I want to see more stuff, my guy.
I'm sorry we would have made fun of you for Wild Mountain Thyme. But I will say, look, I'll give it this. I'm not a person who, I don't take a lot of joy in hate watching things or being like, I really, when people are like, oh, this movie is so bad it's good, I'm like, I'm not going to watch it. Like, I don't actually like that kind of viewing. I just find it so boring.
Really?
Yeah, because you know why? And this is what I thought a lot about this with Wild Mountain Thyme, was I was like, it's fun for like 10 minutes. But those movies are 2 fucking hours long. And then I have the rest of the time to think about how I'm like, I just feel bad that this is just not achieving what it was
you
set
sitting
out
through
to
a very
be.
long joke where the payoff has already been given in the 10 minutes.
And the joke's not even that like it's like someone who's really bad at telling stories, telling you a story that's supposed to end in a joke, and you're just like, that was it. He's just a bee.
You heard the punchline. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like I just don't find that experience that enjoyable.
Now,
shockingly,
for anyone who's not seen this movie, quick plot is that 2 lovers in an Irish farm, or 2 neighbors.
Would you call them star-crossed, babe?
I would. We'll get to it. Oh god.
Yeah.
Two the families, Emily Blunt and Jamie Dornan.
The 2 hottest people in Ireland live next door to each other,
who
and they're
are also the only people in that farm.
And they're not fucking.
And they're not. They're not. Well, they grew up together, but Emily's secretly fawning over him. But Jamie Dornan's kind of an idiot. He's a blithering fool who's just bumbling about. And later she confronts him on a rainy day when they're both grown, and she's like, why won't you
the longest
marry
scene of all
me?
time.
And he says, I think I'm a bee.
Like, that's the end. That's the whole thing. Yeah.
Because when she was a kid, she was told that she's a swan, so her whole life she's like, I'm a bird and he's a bee.
I think, like, if you're Jamie Dornan and you think you're a bee, does he ever like sit in his truck and he's like, it's weird I don't see other bumblebees doing this, driving a truck? Like, you could, if you think you're a bee, you could go to the other bees and kind of be like, I don't know, I don't think I am one of them.
Well, like, there's a scene where he's on the lake trying to do boating, and he appears to be talking to himself, but I guess he's talking to the bees.
Yeah, Dornan kind of plays like this like lovable nerd, but it's like, you're Jamie Dornan. All right, can we stop talking about Wild Mountain?
Well, just one more thing, because we haven't addressed the titular mountain in this movie. Christopher Walken.
Oh yeah, the mountainous performance.
He's the Rachel Dolezal of Ireland. What is that Irish accent? I thought the whole time I was having a stroke.
He puts an accent on one in every 10 words, basically. Yeah.
It was yeah.
Well, because for the first 10 minutes he's narrating, and I was like, "Is that Christopher Walken?" And you were like, "No,
no,
don't be stupid,
don't be a fucking idiot."
And then it turns out he's in it. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Huge big names.
It's a silly movie. If you like the so bad it's good kind of vibe, I don't judge you.
Yeah.
You could make a very successful podcast based on it, as some comedians have done, and it's a good podcast, so whatever.
Yeah.
But like, Wild Mountain Thyme is a perfect film for you if you're into that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that. Okay, I have other important business news first too. We're wealthy. No, I'm just kidding. We made $100. No. I saw Monkey Man.
Oh yeah.
And speaking of good things, Monkey Man, I really liked it actually. And you hate India, so you didn't want to go, which is weird because you're Indian. And that's
the only reason. I was like, I simply cannot.
That's what you said. You were like, I hate India.
I was like, great.
I wish to kill India. You said that.
Hey, we can't put it out there.
And Dev Patel was like, but my movie's good. And you were like, I don't care, Dev.
I was like, I hated Slumdog the whole time.
Okay, here's the thing, which I kind of understand why you might find it a little, like, scoff at it a little bit. Okay, for everyone who hasn't seen Monkey Man, I'm about to spoil it. But if you didn't know what was going to happen in that movie, you really have to question your media literacy right now. So, spoiler alert for Monkey Man.
Yeah.
It has all of these allusions to real life. Modi, all this kind of stuff, the BJP, all these things that are like a normal white guy like myself just might not know anything about India. So it's pretty simplistic, and it's like allusions to Indian nationalism, Hindu nationalism, right?
Right.
Because of that, it's like, I think critics or people kind of are like, oh, this is insightful, thematic. It's got these like allusions to real life. I think there's real footage from riots and stuff. There's like allusions to Muslims being displaced for holy sites, or people being displaced for holy sites, things like that. For a white audience, it's like, oh, it's so thoughtful and so like politically engaging.
Sure.
But if like Chris Evans made his directorial debut about beating Donald Trump and Dick Cheney to death with his bare hands, people would kind of be like, what are you doing?
I would love it.
I know.
I would 100% watch that.
It would be so much, it would be taken with a lot more scrutiny than Dev Patel's directorial debut. And I will say, Monkey Man is a very good movie. It's just funny because it's about a guy who clearly Patel has thoughts about the current Indian regime, and he's like, what if I made a movie about stabbing Modi in the head with a nail?
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
yeah, it sounds goofy.
it is. It's great. It's John Wick.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's good.
All right.
But it's worth watching. It's fun in theaters. Great soundtrack, great music.
Yeah.
Dev Patel, good director, good kicking people's asses. Some really amazing choreography, like I was telling you about. There's a couple scenes where I was like, that's fucking cool. Yeah, good vibes. Good
so
movie.
it's a popcorn film.
It's very violent. It's like really violent. Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Which I it was weird because I don't normally care. Like I don't care much about violence. I feel like we've gotten more okay with that type of violence in cinema as sex scenes have totally dropped off. People are like, but it's all right to see someone like stab someone in the throat with a knife in their teeth and things like that, and blood spraying all over them. And it's like pretty excessive. Oh man, Annette Bening. Anyway, the movie we're talking about today, which is what I was pointing out, was I completely forgot that Annette Bening makes a little cameo in Romeo and Juliet, Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. Sometimes stylized as William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, but I don't know what you're talking about. And we are talking about the Romeo and Juliet.
Romeo plus Juliet.
Romeo plus Juliet, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes from 1996. So you've never seen this movie before?
No, this is the first time I watched it 2 days ago in preparation for our chat today.
I have a very brief... I can say what I think of this movie, but do you think you should say what you think first?
Yeah.
Go.
Because I feel like this movie got fairly good ratings. Okay, 74, 75% audience rating, critic rating, sure.
I have something to say about that later, actually. For
the time that it came out, late 90s.
Mid-90s.
You would either love this movie or hate this movie. There's no middle ground.
That's why we're talking about it. Yeah.
I started being like, what the fuck is this shit? I could not watch more than 10 minutes. And then I just had to kind of let it wash over me, because for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, it's entirely in Shakespearean English.
It's a modern Shakespearean adaptation.
Yeah. But like the set is great. The actors are doing the most. It's all very punk. But you can't look away from this. You can't lightly watch a film like this. You have to pay 100% attention to a film like this. I want to say I came around to it, but I will never watch it again. I think a one-time watch, I'm like, all right, I'm set.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because do you know what I think of this movie?
Go on.
I think it's a fucking masterpiece.
Sure.
I think it's a straight down the line, home run, wicket smacking, fucking ins and ups and overs, masterpiece.
Right in the goal.
I think this movie is fucking awesome. This might be the most cultish movie we've done so far.
Yeah.
But it's like widely seen as like you said, it's like, I think it doesn't work for many people, but the people who it works on are like, oh yeah, that's one of the best movies of the 90s.
There's no like, I thought it was okay. No, you would either love it or you would never want to see it.
It has had such resonance though, right? As we saw in Saltburn, as we've seen in like Euphoria, it was referenced.
Yeah.
It's well known to be everything Baz Luhrmann does in this film. He's just firing on all cylinders.
I can't decide when critiquing this film, like if it's being a pretentious cinephile to love this movie or if it's being a pretentious cinephile to hate this movie.
Can I can I give you my argument about why? Not I'm never gonna be like try and convince a person they should like this movie.
Totally.
This is a movie I think is fantastic.
Yeah.
But I can understand why people don't like it. First of all, the language. I get it.
Sure.
I think lots of people hear the language and immediately get turned off to it. And it's not because it's difficult, but it's because when you're an adult, you don't want to feel like you're in grade 9 again. Because a lot of people, I think, feel immediately like they're like, oh God, this is what it was like sitting in English and listening to this stuff. And I have to say, I don't want to brag too much. I have a bachelor's degree in English literature. I don't understand a lot of it. Like I never did when I was a kid, but I really think the poetry of it is very beautiful. And the older I get and the more I kind of like understand it, the more I like it and I can appreciate it for what it is. That said, seeing it performed is so much better than reading it. And most of what this, essentially Romeo and Juliet, this film, is like, a lot of it can, for all intents and purposes, can just be nonsense. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Because you know what's happening.
Yeah.
As a viewer, you can intuit what's happening. And that's what's so brilliant about it.
Yeah.
And it kind of is like, it makes the argument for what makes cinema important as an art form. Because, like, have you ever watched a movie in a different language without subtitles?
That's what this felt like to me.
Well, exactly. But really good movies, it's like,
you don't need it. Yeah.
You don't need it.
The acting carries it.
Yeah. Because like lots of movies, like most really straight down the line cinema is not like fucking Syriana or The Good Shepherd or movies like that. It's like, no, you can just get what's happening, you know? Like I said earlier about Monkey Man, it's like, if you have watched that trailer and you were like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen in that film. Like, what kind of viewer are you?
Yeah.
You know? And I think like this movie achieves so much visually that you really don't need to understand the language, but you can appreciate the beauty of the language at the same time. This scene that's playing right now is Mercutio's Queen Mab speech, which is very famous. I couldn't tell you anything about it, but you know what's going on right here as we're watching it, right? And there's more to what's going on here than just reading it.
Totally.
That's what makes this movie so interesting and successful.
And you have to rely on this Coke-powered, fucking super saturated MTV color film to pack that punch because, sorry, Shakespeare, the story is boring. To me, okay, the plot is all right. It's basic.
It's like it's near nowhere. It's like pretty. It's so down the middle of what we expect today.
And okay, this is like 400 years old. Back then, when you lived to be 17 and then you die. So it's
Shakespeare wrote this when he was 8.
He fucking killed it. The gang story and the romance story, neither is really enough to carry this film for me. So it's just a visual, like, over-simulation.
But that's what I think is so successful about it. I think Baz Luhrmann...
like, it needed to be over the top.
Baz Luhrmann knows that, though,
exactly.
Right? And he can make, honestly, like, what's considered one of Shakespeare's most mid plays. Like, Romeo and Juliet is the fucking Avengers of Shakespeare's plays. Like, it's not considered one of his greatest. I think it's always been considered one of his more plays, right?
Sure,
not truly the work of brilliant genius that like Hamlet or Macbeth are considered. As far as I know, I have a BA in English, so that's as far as my knowledge goes. One time I read King Lear, so just like give me credit, please. Okay. I got even to the part where he plucked his own eyes out, or whatever.
No, spoiler.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
What I think is so brilliant about it, and what makes cinema so interesting, is like really great films deliver information in a way that other art forms can't.
Yeah.
And they do it without you knowing that that's what's happening. And then all of a sudden but like you intuit it and you feel it. Like there's visual things that are going on that I think like the logical part of your brain just doesn't track. But you track them at a feeling level. Yeah, and that's what I think is so great about this movie.
Honestly, it felt like Spring Breakers with literature in it.
Oh, it's like one of my favorite like summer films. Yeah, it's so fucking awesome.
Did like your school play it in the school? Did a cool teacher be like,
no,
okay, kids?
My grade 9 English teacher, who also was the drama teacher, was very snobby. I think mostly because she was Welsh. and she wouldn't show this version, but she would show the 1968 version, which is actually a good movie, but it's like very traditional in the way it's presented.
Oh, like a West Side Story styles?
No, it's like they have like the fucking the traditional costume. It's set in Italy, and it's like yeah. But she was also like, I think she was kind of like neither here nor there about this play specifically. Yeah. But she was obsessed with Midsummer Night's Dream, and she took us to an actual play to watch Midsummer Night's Dream.
Damn.
She took us on a road trip to watch it because I'm from such a small town.
So passionate, love it.
Yeah. She was amazing. Like, she was a fantastic teacher.
Amazing.
But I will say, like, it's crazy that I read this in grade 9 because I was like, I don't fucking understand any of it.
Well, no, of course. I've never, like, in school we never had to study Shakespeare or anything.
Yeah.
Never in college because it's not a subject. And so the closest I've ever come to kind of seeing this and understanding it is an Andrew Scott monologue where he does To Be or Not to Be, and it is fucking mind blowing.
He's a good actor.
It's the best shit I've seen. It could have been in any language, and it just feels like you understand the man. So I totally get what you're saying, that context is through their emotions and their acting and all the visuals, and you don't really need to understand Shakespearean.
No, not English. At all. And I also don't think, like, I don't know, I just don't think you should strive to. I think it's okay.
I fully get what audience this is for. For me, it was the whole time a monkey clapping cymbals in my head. Just I was like, maybe it'll stop, but it didn't.
Can I throw a quote at you? I read a couple like retrospective reviews, because obviously this movie it's like a cult classic at this point, I would say. So I read this retrospective in Harper's Bazaar by Yasmin Omar. Okay, so she has a quote here. What makes Romeo and Juliet stand the test of time is that all of its bold artistic choices are in service of a singular creative vision. Luhrmann does not treat the Shakespeare masterwork as a sacred, inert text. Instead, as he recently said on Instagram, where he's been sharing behind-the-scenes featurettes on the film,
oh wow,
the director continued to invent and improve throughout the adaptation process and remained in a constant state of invention and reinvention.
Cool.
Which, like, one thing that can be criticized about Baz Luhrmann as a director, but also is kind of like what makes this movie work, and in my opinion what makes Great Gatsby work, is he's not so beholden to the source material. But also sometimes you're like, it feels like he just every day wakes up and he's like, point the camera at something cool. Just point it at something cool until we get something. And that can work and not work. I'm not particularly beholden to Moulin Rouge. I think I've seen it like once a long time ago. I just don't really care. I haven't seen Strictly Ballroom. I haven't seen Australia because I heard it's terrible. And I haven't seen Elvis because why would I ever watch that? I've already said. Why would I ever watch a biopic about Elvis that everyone said was mediocre? But Great Gatsby, which we'll cover someday on the pod, and this movie, I'm like, yeah, this is like what he does best.
Oh, it's 100% Baz, baby.
Yeah, and it's funny because Great Gatsby, I think is like a good movie with problems. Yeah. But that's exactly how this movie was received back in the day.
Oh, 100%.
And I'm like, what happens in 20 years with Great Gatsby, right? The Great Gatsby.
The greatest.
The Gatsbys.
Everyone is doing the over-opulence. Like, even Saltburn pulls that scene from the Capulet mansion in this film.
Yeah, like this party scene is like heavily referenced, or at least it seems to be in Saltburn, for sure. Yeah.
I wish I watched it on like a tiny airplane screen that just opened my third eye or something. It just, I'm like 2 wines down and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to get into it.
I could die up here.
I should go. Now I've seen it all.
You know, the last time I watched this until this time was when I went to Italy last year.
Okay.
And when I was in Genoa and I was trying to sleep for 18 hours because I was so tired. I was watching this movie because it's a definitive like spring summer kind of film where you're just like, I want to feel good, I want to be happy. I know they commit suicide at the end, but like
I think like the MTV generation and you know, fans of punk and Radiohead will love this.
One of my things that I think people get snobby about it is that it's so open in its sincerity, and Claire Danes and Leonardo are so unabashedly sincere in this film that I think like it makes, you know, snobby, miserable people who post on the internet like,
yeah,
snobby,
love is dead.
snobby and miserable about it.
Exactly.
Yeah. But that's also like, I want to talk, we don't have to go through the plot, but I want to talk about some key scenes. They're just unabashed commitment to that is so, it's kind of a nice feeling.
Yeah.
When you're like, I want to see two people be happy and in love. This is kind of a perfect movie.
Like, aside from the cocaine visuals, if this movie were a musical, I would have like undoubtedly hated it because I'm not a musical person.
Yes, me too.
But I feel like I got tricked into watching it by the director because it's not a musical, but it feels like one. And that is my gripe with it. It's just like, I'm just sitting through these overly dramatic anime-esque performances.
It feels like
it's an enduring thing.
It feels like a music video in more than a musical, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
But musicals suck. Like, that's like,
I know,
don't
but
know.
It's not dissimilar in its exaggeration to a musical.
You're right. And that's, I think, like, I cannot stand most musicals. And like this, you could easily say that there's like lots of movies I like where people are like, well, they're very similar to musicals. And I'm like, I don't know. Something about musicals just puts me off.
Yeah. Well,
but
it's the disconnect between them talking and them not talking anymore.
They're even more sincere in musicals.
Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe I just can't reach that level of sincerity. It's way more wholesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair.
Also, like West Side Story, like two gangs like dancing at each other. Like, come on.
Yeah, no dancing occurs in this between gangs at all.
I know.
Boo.
I
wish John Leguizamo gave a big smooch to Mercutio.
I can watch Bollywood whenever I want.
Yeah, the better musical of our times.
Well, every film is a musical of Bollywood.
Don't you dare, sir. Like I was telling you, there's some incredible Bollywood adaptations of Shakespeare's movies.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Like especially like Othello or
Monkey Man.
Modern day Shakespeare himself.
Yeah.
That are pretty great. Well, shout out to Omkara if anybody's watched it. It's fucking dope. But yeah.
Yeah.
I have like a pros and cons list. Like some fucking loser. And I just want to say the pros list is like 10 to 12 things and the cons is like 4 things.
Yeah. The pros are 6 of those things are John Leguizamo, Johnny Legs.
The number one thing is Juliet as a positive thing. So Claire Danes, compared to Leonardo, is a far better actor in understanding Shakespeare.
I think she is.
It's so obvious that she just fully gets it. Like you pointed it out that it's like she's talking naturally. And she just understands the script so well. But with Leonardo, it's a lot of like shouty acting.
Yeah.
It's bad.
I think
sorry, my guy.
Claire Danes. So I have a couple quotes here. The Time critic Stephanie Zacharek, who I quoted on the Babylon episode because I disagreed with her, but she's way smarter than I am. And so anyway, I have a quote from her about how she did not like this movie at first. Then she saw it again and she liked it more, which I have a quote on later. I want to end with that. But she said that like one of the great things about it is Claire Danes' complete commitment to the role and her clear understanding of how to deliver the language. Like some people, it's funny because some people criticize the fact that it's like, I don't think the two of them know what they're saying at all. And I'm like, I disagree.
Totally disagree.
Claire Danes, I think very much, I'm not, again, I may have a BA in literature, but I don't know a lot about Shakespeare and other Shakespeare scholars. They can fucking write me a parchment paper disagreeing with me while they jack off in their stone tower. I think Claire Danes, I think it's like, okay, she might understand kind of like 30% of it is comprehension. 70% of it is her fucking unreal performance in this role.
Absolutely.
And she's just like, whether she understands or not, she clearly doesn't care. But Claire Danes, who's a very extra actress and can be a little over the top,
especially now,
perfect in this. She's so fucking good. Okay, so Stephanie Zacharek, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce her name, says, "This is how a great filmed version of Shakespeare can unlock a whole world, especially for a young person who's anxious about comprehending the language." Through the visuals and through Claire Danes' performance, she's so good at it. Like, I don't know what more to say. Like,
no, she's definitely the better of the Romeos and Juliets.
Yeah.
That it's great. The whole time I thought they were maybe 14 in real life, but no, they're in their like
17.
late 20s.
She was 17 when she filmed this.
Oh, I thought she was 26.
No, Leo was 22 or something.
Oh, got it. Okay, that makes sense. Little baby Leo and baby Danes.
Yeah.
I love the maximalism of it all.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. You rarely get to see. It's very Babylon adjacent from what I see now.
It's got a similar vibe to Babylon.
To Saltburn, I guess, more recently to Great Gatsby.
Yeah, this is good, but
the
big difference being that this movie's good and Saltburn's not. But
Saltburn was nerdy, like intentionally. Or actually, no. I feel like Saltburn took itself
I don't
more
know
seriously.
if it was intentional. I think,
and but in this, it feels like Baz Luhrmann's like, I know that this is wacky, guys.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in on it.
Oh yeah.
But I'm not gonna point to the audience and be like, "Isn't this the funny thing? Look, I'm pointing at a joke." Like he would never do that.
No, he's taking it seriously.
He's taking it seriously.
He takes it seriously as well. Yeah.
That's cool to see.
Yeah.
I think my favorite part really is still the opening, where the narrator, which is such a cool way to adapt it. The narrator is substituted for a
newscaster. Yeah.
Where the narrator is substituted for a news anchor, and it's both in the intro and outro, and it doesn't matter whether they tell you the story right away or not, but it just settles you into the film away.
It plays a trailer before the film that you're about to watch.
Yeah, is that part of the? We don't know if it's part of the movie.
Well, okay. Again, with my advanced literature degree, if I recall,
God,
most Shakespeare plays open with a monologue that gives you the layout of the story, kind of. And I believe there's a person who sets the stage in Romeo and Juliet, but it's like this montage and this newscaster who's then taken over by Pete Postlethwaite doing the voiceover.
He's so good.
And it gets me like so amped. Like it's just like the perfect, it's like a trailer of this film.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this is how most films should start. Because the thing is too, is like, there's so many huge like blockbuster movies that are just meant to be fun that you're just like, I know where this is going. So just do that. Just do a Shakespearean monologue to start it.
Totally.
Like telling me what's about to happen.
Oh, so good. And Pete Postlethwaite, is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
Is born to do this fucking role.
He's amazing.
Or any Shakespeare fucking thing. He's so good. He's the only one who's good in this film for me, outside of Claire Danes.
I feel like he's the only one who'd maybe done Shakespeare before. Although like Paul Sorvino is really good, and he's definitely making like a choice to be as like wacky. And I have to say that Diane Venora, who plays Juliet's mother, is great. Yeah. She's great. And so is the nurse. The nurse is like goofy and fun. The nurse
is the joke of it all, though. Like I feel like she's the Professor Sprout in Harry Potter.
Yeah. She's the, like, what's it called? The fucking comic relief a little bit of the film. Right. And she's like wonderful, but like we are missing one of like the key performances of the movie.
Mercutio?
Harold Perrineau is like unreal.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. He's so perfect.
What a beast.
And his just like, also like so I was reading like in academia, I'm sure there's many papers that have been written about how Mercutio is probably gay. And probably all gay for Romeo.
And both, I think.
This movie like really puts like not the fact that he might be in love with Romeo on display, but Mercutio's kind of like unabashed queerness is like a big thing. Like he shows up in the movie dressed as a woman and is like the most camp fucking dude.
100%. Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. It's kind of great.
It's awesome.
It's so amazing. Yeah.
There's there's no need to pause and address it.
No.
It's just like a matter of fact, which is how it should be, right? You should not have to dwell on that so much.
He's so over the top in every other scene, but in a way that like, okay, again, I understand if you might not like it, but when I watch it, I'm just like, this dude is like, he's mesmerizing. And I feel like he's mesmerized every other actor on there. Like his death scene is amazing. It's like, he's much like Claire Danes, just balls to the fucking wall the whole time. And it's, I don't know, it's like, it's fucking great. I love him so much.
Plague on both your
Plague
houses.
on both your houses. Yeah, it's great.
That is dope.
He's amazing. He's one of the key roles. Second only to Jamie Kennedy.
Oh, you could try, but you won't succeed. Oh man.
You got more?
I mean, fucking Juliet. What a life problem. Oh, who do I choose? Young evergreen Paul Rudd or little baby Leonardo?
Must be
Fucking
tough,
talk about champagne problems. Am I right? Babe?
It's their favorite phrase now. I use it all
it.
the time. Yeah.
I find a way in everywhere in everyday life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're welcome.
You know me, champagne pre.
Champagne Poppy over here. Yeah. What do you think their business is, these two families that have towers across the street from each other? Trade?
Yeah. It's ambiguous enough to be.
What do they trade?
Who fucking knows, right? Yeah. It's one of those like, what do you do? Import export.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're like phone companies. I think they're like Bell Rogers kind of competing.
Oh my gosh, top 5 businesses that they have possibly.
We all know that like most telecom executives keep a shotgun in a cradle above the door of their car. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Juliet just goes and buys a freedom plan instead of fucking Kudo.
Crazy. Yeah.
Kill her right away.
They're not even the biggest telecoms. They're just two shittier ones. Yeah. They make most of their money in import export, and on the side they do fucking telecom monopolies in Canada.
What if they're in modern day? They might be like network executives of like different streaming channels. That'd be dope. Like Disney v Netflix. Not Disney's daughter lusting after Netflix's son.
Oh my
gosh.
She just really wants Mindhunter to come back.
Yeah. Which please. Yeah. If anyone's listening.
Also, Disney Plus, get your life. What
get
are
it
you?
Together,
You fucking suck. All right. Let's talk about some scenes. I want to talk about some key scenes. Totally. We all know the fucking plot. They fall in love. They kill themselves. Done. We all fucking.
They keep it tight.
If you don't know the plot of this movie, catch up. Go watch Monkey Man and tell me you're shocked at what happens.
Read a book.
Yeah, read a book.
Any book. They reference all of them.
Literally, when we say read a book, we're mostly joking. In this case, though, read a book. Like, this actually works. Read a book. All right. I want to talk about a couple key scenes.
Yes.
The opening.
Yeah.
Basically, from the opening montage to the first meeting with Romeo, which is another scene I want to talk about.
Yeah.
The opening montage is amazing, as we just talked about. I also think like the gunfight between Benvolio and Leguizamo is so fun. I think it's so insane.
Yeah.
And I have to say, Jamie Kennedy is great in it.
Yeah, yeah.
When he does the tooth biting thing.
Oh my gosh.
And I love the guy who plays Leguizamo's Tybalt's like associate.
Yeah.
When he bares his teeth and his teeth say sin. I love
beautiful.
It's so corny
it's
and
sick.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah, yeah. It is. It's like high octane camp. Like and through and through.
But even when Leguizamo, when he says like when Benvolio says like I do but keep the peace part, and he says like peace, I hate the word.
Yeah.
That actually part gives me like chills every time I see it. I don't know why. Oh. He's so crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's fucking such a good scene.
He rules.
And it's such an incredible way to open the film. Like, it's just like balls to the wall. And then you meet Romeo, which I think is an awesome scene because it has that amazing only Radiohead song that I like.
Yeah.
Called Who Cares? Because it doesn't matter because it's great. Just
not one, but 2 Radiohead songs in this movie.
What's the other one?
Oh man, I forget now, but it was
Radiohead's
what a choice. I mean, good job.
But yeah, I don't like Radiohead, so I can't really talk too much about it. But
slander.
Yeah, I know. So many fucking Radiohead fans are gonna write me a parchment with their Shakespeare degrees.
Send a bird.
And send me a fucking owl mail, being like,
from your tower.
I had to take a break from rereading the Deathly Hallows to write you about your Shakespeare.
The Deathly Hallows.
There's a huge Venn diagram of people who have Shakespeare degrees who love fucking Harry Potter and also love Radiohead, babe. They're called the Brits. Okay.
Yes.
Anyway,
it's just all of Britain.
The first meeting with Romeo, like, first of all, it's like beautifully filmed. There's like, I love that slow mo.
Oh,
the soundtrack
the
is amazing.
Scene?
No.
Oh.
When you first meet just Romeo.
Oh, got it.
And there's like that scene at the beach.
Yeah.
And there's like the camera's like drifting over, and there's like that woman dancing for that guy.
Yeah.
It's like such an amazing shot. And that fucking huge thing with the hole in it is
the set piece or whatever. It looks like a stage.
Amazing.
beautiful.
It's so cool.
It lays in ruins.
The Sycamore Grove. That's what it is. Yeah.
Oh, sick.
That I just like that scene just visually I think is fantastic and
nice.
Yeah, you were gonna say something.
Go on. You finish your thought.
Well, I'm starting a whole big new thought. So if you want to say anything about what we just talked about, go for it. There are a couple movies that like I can name one off the top of my head, but there's definitely a few movies where I'm like, not every good movie has a sequence that is like perfect for like a few minutes.
Yeah.
At a time, like some have perfect scenes, some are perfect films all through, but like some movies have like you're like there's just 10 minutes where I can't pause. This movie is one of them.
Yeah.
The other movie I will name, which I love, is The Mask.
Oh yeah.
And maybe I just love party scenes, but from when Jim Carrey when The Mask robs the bank to the end of the Dancing with Cameron Diaz scene. Basically perfect until like for a whole like 10-15 minutes of that film is
totally
I love it.
It's a hurricane. You can't look at it.
This movie has that, and it's from when Mercutio pulls up at the beach to essentially the end of the balcony scene. I think is like everything is perfect at that moment. So but I want to talk about like the meet cute scene, which is like far and away one of my favorite scenes in cinema.
So beautiful.
Flat out. Yeah.
Totally.
When they meet at the aquarium and like the song choice is perfect and just like that, even that little scene within the scene is like sublime filmmaking.
That fish tank scene just like invented love at first sight. Just the concept of it.
Oh my God. It's just so like.
So beautiful.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
The thing, I think I told you about this when we were like halfway through watching it and you were asking like, has anyone done other kind of like modern adaptations? And it's like, yeah, they have, but this is one of those few movies where it's like they did a thing which I think is like totally unique, and now you can't do anything like that.
You can't do it again. Yeah.
Like the fish tank scene is like so good that it's like you can never really sincerely do that again.
Yeah.
You could parody it, and it probably has been done like many times.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But you can never truly. You would have to reinvent it or remix it in some significant way.
I think Rob Schneider did it in Hot Chick. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Yeah, well, Hot Chick. Speaking of movies with perfect sequences, Hot Chick. Is it Hot Chick?
Hot Chicks.
I think I'm getting it confused with White Chicks.
That's different.
I know. It's the Rob Schneider one is the Hot Chick.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Am I fucking?
And then White Chicks was the Wayans brothers.
White Chicks is the brothers. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's Shallow Hal? No, I'm just kidding.
This is now descending into a Rob Schneider franchise.
Wait, let's pause talking about a movie I think is a masterpiece, and we got to talk about Hot Chick, the Hot Chick and Shallow Hal, and most of Rob Schneider's early efforts.
I just think
Big
that
Daddy.
He understands aquariums. They're in almost every film. Like Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo has a very important aquarium. Sick lionfish in there. He's looking at it with intent in his eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, Romeo.
Anyway, just interrupt the greatest scene ever.
It was stunning. It was stunning.
I like truly think that whole sequence, like the party and everything, it is fucking perfect.
Yeah.
The balcony scene, like the inversion of it, the way that like Luhrmann makes you look at the whole scene of the balcony.
Yeah.
And you're like, I know what's coming up. Fucking rise Juliet and kill the envious moon, bitch. And you're just like, and then he inverts it by her actually coming down.
Yeah.
And
she takes the elevator, comes down.
And they go even further because they go down below the water in the pool, right? And like it's such a fun, even though it's like so obvious now, but it's like such a fun like inversion of it. And then you get that balcony money shot in the end when he climbs up the ladder and takes the thing from her, right?
It's nice the way they use water everywhere in this movie.
I have to say, one of the greatest ideas that they had in this movie was to just make Leonardo DiCaprio wet.
At all times.
Just throw
just slick back hair,
fucking
baby.
Mexican seawater on him every take.
He just continued to do it in every film down his career.
I think Baz Luhrmann would go up and like touch him on the neck and be like, "You're too dry.
It's time to baptize you, my guy.
Yeah, time to get wet, Leo." And Leo was like, "I hope I win an Academy Award
because
one day."
it's every time they're in or around water, it feels like it's just them. Like it's almost like a bedroom or like a shroud of privacy, whether
Yeah.
it's underwater or by the water or
Yeah.
at the beach or whatever, and it's nobody else is around, or even if they are, they're not important. So it's a cool way of showing that with water.
I think there's something in the fact that it's not set in Mexico, but it's shot in Mexico. I think it's shot in like Mexico City and Veracruz, which as far as I remember, so Leonardo DiCaprio was in Mexico to film this movie entirely. And then he signed on to his next tiny low budget film. And they were like, guess where you're going to film a lot of that with a lot of water? And he's like, where? And they're like, Mexico. So I think he had to like be in Mexico for like a year and a half filming this and some other bullshit movie called Titanic that no one saw.
Whoa.
But because I think they like in Titanic they filmed all of that a lot of the water scenes and stuff in Mexico.
Yeah.
There was also a huge tank involved, which I think was in Mexico, but they also filmed something in Halifax or some bullshit. I know in Halifax is where they got dosed with LSD. But anyway, I'm pretty sure what I had heard about Titanic was Leo was like losing his mind from from being in Mexico for forever,
I bet. I mean,
and like having to work nonstop.
Yeah.
But I think I would say it worked out for him. I would say that hard work paid off. Yeah.
I've heard that name a couple times in my life.
He hasn't done much since, but yeah. But like, yeah, it's interesting because it's interesting you bring that up actually for my Bachelor of Arts level reading of this film. When he has to abandon Juliet to go to Mantua, it's like in the middle of a desert.
Oh.
Whoa. Putting that degree to use.
The opposite of water.
Desert, the opposite of water.
I just mean, yeah.
Fucking Dune 2 over here, yeah.
I just mean because it's such an important part of the theme that's cool that they chose to do it in the desert.
Now, I want to talk about Pete Postlethwaite because he's amazing.
Yeah, big dog.
He plays
Father
Lawrence. And something like I don't miss much about the 90s, but something I do miss, which this movie has, is like they don't just have one poison guy in the city.
Yeah.
They have two.
That's right.
And sometimes I'm like, where do I get my poison?
I mean, you're spoiled for choice.
I know, yeah, but they are. They are now, and now it's like, where do you get your poison now? You don't even have. Do you even have a poison guy?
Yeah, yeah.
What's the point of being alive? And I have to say, like, Romeo's kind of dumb because he is like, he goes to the other poison guy, to get poison, and if he had gone to Father Lawrence,
he'd have gotten the good stuff.
He would have Father Lawrence would have been like, yo, maybe before you kill yourself, you should know Juliet's not dead. But instead, Romeo is like, I'm going to go to the other poison guy across town instead of to the church where Father Lawrence lives.
No.
Which he goes to anyway.
He's just in like such a, oh no, my friend is dead.
The other thing too is like, I don't know how well FedEx and UPS worked back in Shakespeare's day.
No, they're the real villain.
But like in Shakespeare's day, were they like great? And he was just like,
yeah, what did he think?
Yeah,
wait,
did he
so
think
how does it happen in the real? Does he write a letter to Romeo saying that, hey,
it was the only way for them to communicate? So yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought he like actually sent a person and it took that person forever to get there.
I think they probably sent like a courier or whatever. I don't know how mail worked in Shakespeare's day.
That's true.
Yeah. I don't know.
He's like, I only have parchment for myself. I can't be, I'm writing all this down. Like, okay, fair. Fair.
It's silly because there's a part in this where after it's clear that Romeo hasn't got the first letter, Father Lawrence is like, oh, what can I do? I'll write another letter. It's like, dude, it's too little too late, man. Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah.
Good penmanship, though.
I'm sure it's great. Yeah. When you're fucking fucked up on heroin poppies. Yeah. And then the next scene I want to talk about is Mercutio's death sequence.
Yeah.
It's so great. It's
beautiful.
So fucking good. Yeah.
It feels like it's not really choreographed in a strict way, that they're just going at it, but it feels so raw.
I love the way it moves back through the hole in the set and then back out of it. Like and I love how over the top everyone takes it. Just everyone just going, just hamming
shouty
so
acting.
hard.
Yeah.
And like, I think the shot when Mercutio dies and Leo is like straddling his body and then like it's like there's like a wind machine on them, and then Leo like stands up and stands over his body and then runs all the way back into the set to his car, and you just see him and Benvolio struggle at the car, and then he jumps in and drives away.
Yep.
And it's all like this one static take.
Perfect.
And I love the placement of it.
So good. It feels so rewarding to like.
Yeah, and you get to just watch it happen. And
you're like you're there at the beach. It feels like you're witnessing that scene is on TV right now, where he's kind of messing around with the guns. It's cool. Every time the beach scene comes up, I feel like I'm there.
I know.
Just from the angle, the depth of it, and have them placing the audience in a place where you're like, we can't really look at Leo's face because he's so far away, but you can tell that he's about to go fuck shit up.
Yeah, and just like just the dramatic part when Mercutio is stabbed. Perno, the way he like delivers the line where he's like, "If you call me tomorrow, I'll be a grave man," as it's like a joke. Mm-hmm. And then he like takes his hand away and he sees that it's like, oh boy.
Yeah.
And then he gets like it's so interesting because he's like faced away from everybody. He's got his hand on his stomach and he takes it away and he's like, oh, this is like way worse than I thought. And like when he turns, he completely switches his tone. Yeah. And says the like plague on both your houses thing, which is just like, I don't know, he's so good in it, man. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, I've been crushing on you so hard, Romeo, and this how you let me go?
Yeah. And then I also do like that. I like Tybalt's like clear remorse at having killed, like how bad he fucked up.
Yes.
Yeah. It's great, man. Scene is on right now. Oh, sick.
Okay, John. He's like, peace. I hate the word. And he said it in Chef 2 when they were like, make more corn and peas. And he's like, not peas. I hate them.
Cubano, I hate the word.
Cubano, I hate the peas and the Cubano.
As I hate hell, all Montagues and hamburgers.
Monterey Jack.
Whatever.
Perfect.
Basically, John Leguizamo, what we're trying to say is he's perfect in every movie he's in. That's just hardcore facts. And then, okay, so from there, like, Romeo kills Tybalt and then has one last torrid night with Juliet. Which is those scenes are all fine.
What's your other favorite scene?
I'm going through it because I'm skipping kind of right to the end.
Oh yeah,
because like all of that is like fine. I think it's like it's okay. He goes sees the other poison guy who's not as savvy as Pete Postlethwaite.
He gives him that good poison. Holy that shit!
Will fuck you up.
Messes you up.
The church.
Yeah.
Oh. One of the most crazily beautiful staged scenes.
Yep.
There's one thing I love so much about the montage at the beginning. There's like you see very brief shots of the church, and you also see there's a great shot of Leo, his eye through the crack in the door, which I think is just such a fucking cool moment because like
he's hesitant, he's afraid to go see her body,
but also even though you've kind of glanced what's inside the room, you're also like, what is in there? And then you can't really prepare yourself for how opulent it is.
Oh my god.
And the production designer and the art designer, I think at the time the Academy Award was for art design. For both production and set design were won.
Oh, okay.
And they were nominated for an Academy Award, deservingly so, just for that scene alone. The church is so detailed in the way that it's like, it's just like,
just
I don't know,
neon love.
Something about it is
flowers,
so amazing, and it's like
candles.
Yeah. I want like the shot of him walking between the aisles, and like the gun is like dangling from his hand. I want like a big poster of that, just like a clip of it on my wall. It's so amazing. The color, beautiful. And just like how his fucking kick-ass Hawaiian shirt just
his Hawaiian
perfect
shirt
for it.
Oh.
Yeah.
All of them. They're all, I mean, it's the beach city.
Oh yeah, man.
They're rocking it, but like
clothes are amazing. Yeah.
Blue and floral shirt. Yeah, it's different.
But like, okay, so it's just that church scene is just so like fantastic, and then even though you know the ending, the way it ends is so like, just that's it. Yeah, I don't know, man. Ugh. It's great, and then I love the final little speech from Prince and the newscaster doing the little sign off is just it's great, man.
So good.
Those are my things from the movie. Yeah, he's good. He's so good in this too. That role, I think, if I remember from the play, and like his role is like one of the fun ones, I think, for people. They get to show up for like 4 scenes and give like hefty monologues.
Damn.
But he's awesome in this. Whoever I can't remember the actor's name, but yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
The Romeo scenes are we're talking about color earlier, and I just wanted to say that Romeo scenes are almost always like blue toned, and Juliet's scenes are kind of like yellow gold
warm
toned, which is like opposite sides of the color wheel, right? It's complementary colors.
Mm-hmm.
And yet with that poison scene, I don't know if it's intentional, but Juliet gets the blue poison.
Oh yeah, and he gets the yellow one.
And he gets the yellow gold
that
poison. That
seems intentional, yeah.
And it might be like a Baz Luhrmann symbolism for like, oh, they're going to be together forever.
Yeah.
Because now the colors will come together in poison making. That was cool to see.
Yeah, I want to point out another scene too. Speaking of Claire Danes' incredible performance, when she goes to get the poison from Pete Postlethwaite, and she gives like a little speech, and she is
shaking.
Yeah, it's like the perfect use of Claire Danes' like intense insanity.
Yeah.
And when she puts the gun to her head and like says I long to die, like it's such a good fucking on point.
That was very emotional. Like that was the goosebump scene for me. I was like, oh damn.
Yeah.
Damn, Claire Danes.
That's the scene where like the first time you see it, you're like, she knows what is going on here.
Yeah. Just in terms of chronology, they've known each other 24 hours.
It's like 3 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's better than 1 day. Yeah, but it's cool. It's just how like escalated everything is because of the families.
Yeah.
It's the family's fault, right? It's their feud. It's their whatever hatred, which is so much more powerful than love.
I have no critical or thematic analysis of the plot of Romeo and Juliet. Like I don't really.
Oh, it doesn't matter. But like the way it's even showed, right? It's you don't ever see the family fighting with each other.
You see the feuding with the street gangs, right?
You see it through the gangs who really have little to no impact.
The idea is that like the feud goes back so far that nobody has any idea how it started, right?
It's like the big bosses are not really affected except for these children.
Yeah.
They're cousins, the son and daughter.
Yeah. They just want to run a telecom business,
Looks
you know.
Fucking beach scene where
I know with the wind, it's
die.
amazing. Yeah.
So stunning.
Do you have anything more to say? I have one last thing to say. So to get back to the Time critic Stephanie Zacharek, she actually had this quote that I thought was like really perfect, and I wanted to like end by talking about it. So as I mentioned earlier, she had gone to see the film and she gave it like a not good review. It was like, nah, not for me. But she was like, after I filed that review, this is in her retrospective review on Time. I'll link to it in our show notes. She was like, after I filed that review, I still was like thinking about this movie as like days later. And she's like, I went to see it again. Movie critics, man. They're a different breed. So she says, I recall friends complaining that DiCaprio and Danes had no idea what they were doing and that they had no mastery over the material. That's exactly the point. Their Romeo and Juliet is one of pure feeling, a flame burned fast and clean. Movies are neither made nor received in a vacuum, and they have a life beyond what we can initially imagine for them. That's why so many of today's grown-ups who saw Romeo and Juliet as kids will never forget it. That is how a play lives forever, reinvented again and again across the centuries, even as its bones and its hearts remain intact.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, that's like the
it's all
perfect
emotion.
Example of why this movie works. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well done, Baz. Did it again, dog.
Well, done it since. I don't know if he's done it since, but
Did it when you first did it?
This movie is perfect and amazing. If you don't like it, you're dumb.
It's strictly okay. Just let's not get carried away by the color of it.
I think this movie fucking rules.
Sure.
A lot.
We will agree to disagree.
You get hella rules.
Go watch Spring Breakers.
Has been the
low modern day
ceiling.
Romeo and Juliet.
I'm ignoring you.
Hey.
This has been the low ceiling.
But I have things to say. It's pre.
It's John. Hey, it's your boy. Bye.